Suppose after our meeting here, you were to leave and go to the cafeteria, and as you're leaving the room, you step out of the door and you see a full-grown tiger standing there. Well, what would you do? Well, the uninteresting prediction is that most people would endeavor to leave the area in great dispatch. But that's not a very interesting prediction. But if we ask, why do you do that? Why? Is your decision to run based on any detailed information that you have about that particular tiger, or is your decision to run based on what you've seen of other tigers, about tiger folklore, or what your friends have told you about tigers?
Oh, I see what he's talking about now.
Your decision is based on that kind of information. That
guys know who's the tiger? Let me know in the comment section below.
You are using stereotypes. Okay, now, some people might say, well, I don't use stereotypes. Well, that person would go, before he would not prejudge the tiger. He would try to get more information. And he would go up to the tiger saying, here, kitty, kitty, try to establish whether he's friendly or not, and then only then, if he behaved in a menacing fashion, then the person would run. But most people make a quick calculation. They weigh the expected cost of an additional unit of information about that tiger versus the expected benefit, and you just find out that the expected cost exceeds the expected benefit, so they don't search for any more information. So now you have to be kind of careful if you said that person was behaving that way because he did not like tigers. But he's really behaving in a way to economize on information costs. Let me give you another example of it. Now, suppose there were a
camera's not moving.
People in the room, and there were five white males.
The third Libertarian International.
5 white males. 5
there we go.
Black males, and 5 white females, and 5 black females. 20 people. And if I had 20 people standing up here, and you could not differentiate between those people except by race and sex, that's the only way you could differentiate among those 20 people.
All right.
That is, you had zero information about any other characteristic, and I suggest to you, pick a 5-person basketball team among those people, and if you win the game, you get $1 million. Now, how would you choose? Now,
oh, I see what he did there. I see what he did there. He's closing the argument. It's very smart. You know what's the answer? Of course, the black people. Of course, because they have a higher chance of being good in basketball. I see what you're doing, Walter.
You have zero information about their basketball playing proficiency, and they all appear to you to be equal, and you can only distinguish among them by race and sex. Well, a good Bayesian, he would probably confine a lot of his choices to the black males, knowing that there is an association between race and sex, not necessarily a causal one, but at least an association, at least in the United States. Now, even Germaine Greer would not say, well, I'm not going to pick men. And suppose she did. Suppose she chose to discriminate against men.
Go with the woman.
Well, would we care? Or suppose you had a guy like Governor Wallace saying, well, look, I'm not going to give the blacks any chance to be picked. I would love to play against Governor Wallace's team. We clean them up all the time. So what I'm saying here
he's very funny.
is that a lot of behavior that is called discrimination or preferences may not in fact be that. That is, if I ask the woman in the audience if she knows anything about basketball, to pick out a 5-person team, she would probably confine her choices to the men, and her choice would be dominated by the black males. But a man from Mars, observing her behavior, would he be safe in concluding that she does not like females, neither does she like white males?
It could be a conclusion, right? But what could be the reason of that conclusion? Okay. Now, if those reasons are valid to get what that person wants to get, right? Now, if you want to go a little bit egalitarian or postmodern, you might just get one of each group. But are you being efficient? If I knew Asians are very good in music, playing the piano, I might just go towards that, right? Like if we talking about this same example, but you want to be more individualistic, you need to hear and see what they do, and that takes a lot of time. But it's the right thing to do. But it takes a little bit of time. But if you don't have time, you just go with stereotypes. See, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just how it is.
No, he couldn't. That is, we have to be very, very careful about inferring preferences from watching people's behavior. Now, similarly, if I were to ask any one of you, let's play the following game, and I tell you, I'll need that several times, yeah. And I tell you, look, what we're going to do, we're going to walk to any university. Let's pretend it's Stockholm University, and let's pretend for a moment it's completely integrated, and it reflects the ethnic composition of Stockholm. Or maybe let's stick to the United States because I know that a little bit better. And the university that we're going to be at reflects the ethnic composition and the sexual composition of our country. And I tell you, let's play the following game. Find the integral of x squared dx. And I tell you, for each person that you ask as you walk along the campus who can integrate this function correctly, I will give you $2,000. Each person that you ask to integrate this function who does not know the answer, you give me $200. Now, if you find the payoff matrix of this game sufficiently rewarding to induce you to play the game, then the question is, how will you choose? You have,
okay.
I'm also postulating that you have zero information about the mathematical proficiency of any of the students. All you're allowed to do is walk up to the person and say, what is the integral of x squared dx? How will you choose? Well, you would choose randomly if you thought that these skills were randomly.
I see what you're calling here. I see. You have to just minimize the groups and categories by the quickest way you can do it, which is going based on stereotypes at the same time. Because it's the first information you have, and you have to scale down a little bit. It's like finding a niche.
The people in society.
Sub-niche.
But probably a good Bayesian would confine his choices. He would not pick women. He would not pick blacks. He would not pick Puerto Ricans. He would probably confine his choices to Japanese males, and not those wearing crew cut, not those wearing sandals and looking hippie-like. But he would probably confine his choices to Japanese males. Now, again, the person is behaving on the basis of incomplete information. He is optimizing. The same thing with employment.
Japanese. Wow.
That is, if you're a firm hiring people, then you're going to, and it's going to cost you, let's say, $1,500 per applicant that you interview for a job, and you're looking for an applicant who can perhaps get, let's say, 700 on an SAT test. Well, would you send your recruiters to places like Harlem and Philadelphia, where you nonetheless you have to pay $1,500 per prospective candidate? That's what it costs you to screen.
Yeah.
But your return is going to be relatively small. So you will
high risk and very low reward. That's not a good business.
Where there's a higher probability of success. And indeed, the schools with the higher probability of success may not be black schools.
He said it. Wow. He said it. He said it. Wow. Ooh. Not to say that there's no well mathematicians in black school. If you're stating that where can we find the most elitist or higher mathematician, and of course that would not be in a black school, sadly, right? What do you guys think? I might be wrong here. Let me know.
The point that I'm trying to make here is that by observing people's behavior, there's very little that you can infer about their racial preferences.
Yeah.
Now, what about discrimination is another word that we use in discussion of race. People say that you shouldn't discriminate. Well, I think that we can come up with an operational, a better use of the term, or more operational useful more operational definition of the term discrimination, if we just look at it the way an economist might do. That is, discrimination is solely the act of choice.
Huh.
Okay. Now,
he's bold,
scarcity
bro.
requires us to make choice.
He's practical and bold. That's it.
When I came to Stockholm, I had.
He liked his coffee super strong, no cream, no sugar, and not even hot, cold, bro. That's how he's talking right now. Very practical, very. No wonder a lot of news networks, and even let me not go there, but it makes sense. He knows what he's talking about. Clearly, when you hear it, it makes sense. If you've been, maybe you've been through the world a little bit, you know a couple things. It makes sense what he's saying.
To discriminate against other possible uses of my time. When I married my wife, I had to discriminate against other women.
Another woman, yeah.
And she, unfortunately,
did the same thing
for me to continue this discrimination. Now, you might say, well, that kind of discrimination doesn't harm anybody. I'd be insulted because for you to say something like that means, for my marrying my wife not to harm other women, I would have to be the kind of man that only one woman would want, and that's obviously not the case. So that kind of discrimination is indeed harmful. And matter of fact, we do it all the time.
He has a good frame, though. He's not laughing. People are laughing about his joke. He's not taking it. He said, I'm the charisma. I'm the guy here. You guys have to laugh about my joke, or I'm not going to laugh with you guys. That's how he has a good frame. I like that. Very good frame.
All the time, don't we? That is, any of you women, I know that there are roughly, when you're choosing to marry somebody or choosing a mate, there are roughly 2.5 billion choices for you around the world. Now, how do you choose that one mate? Do you give each guy a chance? Or do you narrow it down based on some kind of criteria that the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission would not accept? And you probably do. You probably do. So do we care that people use stereotypes? Do we care that people have preferences? Do we care whether people discriminate?
Do we really care?
Now,
do we really care, or we pretend to care so we become loud? Very loud. To pretend that we care. That could be a good question.
It seems like all those things are necessary and common attributes of human behavior. So to tell somebody not to discriminate is foolish. To tell someone not to discriminate by race is foolish. As a general premise, because most people marry people of their own ethnic group. Matter of
which is
fact, it's even
discriminating
worse
against
than
the
that.
other
They
one,
marry people of their
and
own
they chose.
education and their own income standard. So
Uh-huh.
all this does, it makes the income distribution more skewed, or makes inequalities more skewed than they otherwise might be.
That was very good. That was very good. Very, very dry and out there, but clear. Not a lot of BS. A lot of logic on this. Very simple ideas. Discrimination happens every day. I have to discriminate about what kind of people I bring to my life in order to make sure that my family is safe. That's a discrimination. I discriminate with what kind of people I should just work with. Yeah. It's just part of life. And it's just a mechanism of defense that we have. We have to. We have to narrow things. If we don't narrow things, we have to go through a long process that's gonna take us forever, and we might make the wrong decision because we might go biased against our own nature, and that's bad in itself. Walter does give a good opinion why some employees might choose other people than others, and that's fine. That's fine. If you really understand your value, you will understand. That's fine. Huh. What do you guys think? You think that he was a little bit harsh on this, or you think you guys think that he was good? Do you agree with me or you disagree with me? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm loving the fact that you guys are just giving a lot of engagement in your comment section. I'm learning a lot from you guys, and I really, really appreciate the fact that you guys are still giving me some good insight and just for me to go back and just go and verify what the hell am I learning, right? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'm gonna really appreciate it, guys.